Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. So before there was actually a slight disturbance, so because of which I was not able to continue the live. So I will now continue the live here. I think now that will be fine, right? Yes, let us start. So today, in the before class, I've actually abruptly I have ended near the final goods and the intermediate goods. So I'll be continuing from there. I'll explain you again what are actually the final goods and what are actually the intermediate goods. Okay. So final goods are nothing but it is the final product which you actually get, and the value of the final goods is actually mainly considered to find the value of the cost also. In order to find the product, in order to find the actual value of the cost, we are actually considering only the final good. Okay. For example, in order to understand what is actually the final good and what is actually the intermediate good, let us try to understand this example first. So first, what happens here? A farmer is there who actually sells wheat to flour mill for 20 per kg. He has actually sent. Okay, sold actually. Then after that, what happened? Then the mill grinds the wheat and sells the flour to a biscuit factory for 25 per kg. Okay. Then the biscuit company uses the flour and things such as sugar, oil, water, and many other things for making the biscuits. So what happens? Now he is actually selling 20 for each pack for 20 rupees for each packet. Okay, that means 80 rupees for four packets. So biscuits are actually the final goods, that is the goods that actually reach the customers. So final goods are nothing but the goods which actually reach the customers are considered to be the final goods. And the value of these goods, that is the final goods, are only considered to be to find the value of the respective product also. For example, if you want to consider the value of what is actually the biscuit, we are going to see only the final goods, that is the goods which actually reach the customers. For example, let us try to understand what are intermediate goods. Intermediate goods are nothing but this 20 rupees per kg, this 25 per kg, and this all the cost of sugar, all the cost of oil, all the cost of water, and everything. All those are considered to be the intermediate goods. These goods are not included in finding the value of the cost of the product, but only the final cost of only the final goods are actually considered to find the cost of that respective product. Okay. So why is it only final goods? Because in that final goods only the entire cost of all these intermediate goods are included. For example, if you include all those intermediate goods, this good, that good, and everything, the cost of the product will exceed very much also. And also it feels like actually we are considering the same products again and again. For example, if you see here, 20 rupees per kg flour. Again, we are actually considering again the same powder for 25 kgs. What is actually the difference? Same products only we are actually considering, right? So that is actually the main problem that we actually face here. So same goods are actually considered for multiple times in the intermediate goods. Therefore, in order not to avoid that, in order not to come up with that kind of situation, we only take the final goods. In that final goods, we are only considering the value of that respective product. That you must actually remember. Now let us try to understand what is actually the GDP. GDP is nothing but the gross domestic product. Gross domestic product is the GDP. Then how we actually calculate the GDP of a country? So we actually calculate the GDP of a country by actually knowing the value of the final goods. So the value of the final goods and services which are produced by each sector. See, for example, each sector that is primary sector is actually producing different kind of products, right? So what is the value of each and every product? Okay, the value of each and every product of that respective sector will actually give the production of the respective sector, will actually give us the total value of that respective sector. Then how we actually calculate the GDP? GDP will actually give us the value of all the three sectors combined together. The value of all the production activities of the three sectors combined together will actually give us a value of GDP. Okay, that is a gross domestic product. So it is actually the value of all the goods and services which actually produced within a country during a particular year will actually give us a GDP of the country. Okay, so GDP of a country will actually tell us how developed actually a country is, how big a country actually is, how big and how developed actually countries. This GDP will actually tell us about it, and it also tells us about the production activities of different sectors also. And as you have actually seen, so in agriculture sector, in agriculture lesson of geography, you'll actually have a table that it is actually given how much each sector is actually contributing for the GDP also. That also you learn. Okay, so let us try to understand the historical changes in these kind of sectors. So it is seen that for many years together, for many years, since after we actually got the independence till now also, till now it is not there. So after we actually got the independence, what happened was that the production standards of the primary sector was actually more. And primary sector was mainly contributing for the development of a country after we actually got the independence. For initial years actually, after we when we actually got independence, so those initial years, in those initial years, a primary sector was mainly contributing for the GDP of the country. What actually happened was that in recent years, like in past 30 to 40 years, what happened was this situation was completely changed, when primary sector is contributing very much less to the development of country, and tertiary sector is actually contributing more for a country. So why is actually tertiary sector become a very important in the development process of a country, and how it is actually contributing for the development process also, that also we are going to see. Okay. If you see these graphs are very, very important. If you see the first graph, it is actually showing that the primary sector is a blue color, the red color is a secondary sector, the green color is a tertiary sector. If you see here, the primary sector contribution is actually more in the GDP of the country. Okay, and the tertiary sector is also equally more. That also we can see. But if you see the situation here in 2013 and 14, the primary sector contribution is very less as compared to the secondary and the tertiary sector. And among all the three sectors in 2013-14, tertiary sector was actually contributing more for the GDP of the country. Okay, why actually that situation is actually prevailing? Why tertiary sector is considered has actually become a very important sector for the development process of the country, that we are actually going to see now. Okay, so before I actually say, let us try to understand the graph once again. So what actually the change which actually took place from 1973-74 to 2013 and 14. That means in these years, what actually the changes actually happened was that, if you see here, the primary sector contribution to the GDP increased very much. So I know that each sector contribution to the GDP increased very much, but more contribution is actually seen in the primary sector. That you must actually try to understand. Next, if you see, it is actually showing us what are the main reasons for the growing importance for the tertiary sector in the production activities. First is the basic services. So primary sector is a kind of sector which will provide us with all the basic services which actually help in the development of country. For example, it provides us the hospitals, schools, then all the engineers and all corporations, banks, insurance, companies, administration process. For everything, this tertiary sector is only contributing. Therefore, the growth of all these sectors together came to be seen as a growth in the tertiary sector also. Therefore, the contribution of all these sectors only the economic development of a country is actually seen. Therefore, when actually the development is actually taking place in all this kind of fields, like that is in hospitals, that is in healthcare facilities, educational facilities, and also for the commerce field also, all these sectors growth, all these fields growth has seen the growth in the tertiary sector also. Therefore, tertiary sector will actually provide us with all the kind of basic services which actually help in the economic development of the country. That you must actually try to understand for this. Okay. Now let us see what is the second most important reason. Second most important reason is that the growth of the primary and the secondary sector also resulted in the growth of the tertiary sector. How it is actually resulting in the growth of the tertiary sector? Because when more goods are actually being exploited by the nature, more goods are also processed by the nature only. More goods are also processed by the secondary sector. So that means more transportation is also required, right? For that, more transportation must be given to, more transportation is actually very much important in order to send all those kind of products to the people also. So in that process also, tertiary sector is increasing very much. And importance of the tertiary sector is also increasing. So that is the important reason. That means the growth of agriculture industry is actually leading to the growth of the service sector. That is the transportation, banking, insurance, storage and everything, it is increasing very much. The third most important reason is the income rise also. So as incomes are actually rising, many people are actually trying to get more benefits also. They actually are expecting for more benefits also. For example, they actually want better lifestyle also. They want good income, they want to eat outside, they want to go outside, they want to travel across the world. So all these kind of things are actually increasing the development for the tertiary sector. And tourism sector is also increasing very much. So that is also resulting in the development of the tertiary sector. And the fourth most important reason is the globalization process. So in the fourth chapter of economics, we mainly learn about what is actually globalization. So in 1990, So in 1990, what happened is 1991, what happened was that the then Prime Minister, I think then Finance Minister, right? He was also a Prime Minister and a Finance Minister. So then Prime Minister Manmohan Singh has actually declared that has actually opened the goods, opened the world for India actually. So till then only India was actually restricted in its what we see in its development process also, wherein the other companies were not allowed to trade in our own country. So because of the restrictions in the liberalization policies, because of the restrictions in the trade process also, other countries were not allowed to trade with our country. So what happened after 1991? In 1991, so this globalization process was actually brought up, wherein all liberalization and globalization was brought up, wherein the restrictions on the trade were actually removed. So what are these restrictions? Nothing but wherein now Indian traders can also compete with the world, and also the other companies can also set up their industries in our own country. So that is a globalization process. Globalization is nothing but interconnection or the integration of one country to another country in the form of the flow of trade, flow of capital, flow of labor is considered to be the globalization process. So during that time only the growth of IT industries started to emerge. So where the emerging of the IT industries went up. So wherein wherein from then on the increasing there is always the increasing of the IT industries were seen. Okay, that was seen actually. Okay, that we actually try to understand. That is the fourth main important reason. And it is always seen that skilled and unskilled labor was also very much important. Do you think that all the kind of sectors in economy, in all the kind of fields in the tertiary sector are actually increasing? No, all kinds of fields are not actually increasing the tertiary sector. Only the very important fields, that is banking field, that is IT industries, that is technological based industries, fields, and everything are only increasing. Not all the sectors are actually increasing. What we actually try to understand is that the importance for skilled labor is also very much increasing, because there is always this kind of a demand in the market. There is always a demand for the skilled labor in the market as compared to the unskilled labor. If you see, unskilled labor are the ones which do not have any skill. I am not saying they do not have any skills. Of course they have, but they are not having that kind of a certificate we can see, or they do not have the degrees. Okay, and they can actually work for all the jobs. Those kind of jobs. So unskilled labor will try to work for all the kind of jobs, but skilled labor will only work for a specialized job solely. Okay, those are the skilled labor, and this skilled labor has more importance and more demand in the market also. Okay, that you must actually try to understand. Okay, and this is the main reason for the not growth in the tertiary sector also, because of unskilled labor also. Then if you see the next graph, this graph is actually showing the share of sectors in GDP. As you see here, around 50% of the contribution is actually seen by tertiary sector, and around 40% by primary sector. But here if you see here, 10%, only 10% of the 10% only primary sector is contributing in the GDP. Whereas if you see the tertiary sector, it is contributing for around 70% of the total GDP. That means you actually try to understand how much the tertiary sector is actually increasing in our entire country. That you must actually understand from this. Okay. The second most important thing is the third graph. The third graph is also the same. The share of sectors in the employment also. That means in which sector people are actually more employed. If you see here in 1978 to 77 to 78, the more employment is actually seen in the primary sector, and less employment is seen in the tertiary sector. But if you see here in 2017 and 18, more people, there is actually a slight increase in the employment in the tertiary and the secondary sector, and there is a decrease in the employment in the agriculture, that is the primary sector. So one thing which you must actually try to understand from all these three graphs is that primary sector, which is contributing very much less to our economic development, is having more number of people who are actually employed in that sector. Okay, are you understand? So what you actually trying to focus is that primary sector is contributing very much less to our development process, that is a GDP of a country. But in that sector only we are seeing that more people are actually involved in that sector only. Whereas if you see the tertiary and secondary sector, the population, wherein if you see the tertiary secondary sector, they are actually contributing more to the economic development, but the employment is actually seen very much less. If you see here also, as you have seen this graph, if you see these both graphs also, primary sector is contributing very less to the economic development of a country. Tertiary sector is more in the same. So what is actually, so when you actually see this graph, you will think that okay, tertiary sector is in that only people are actually working more. So because of that only people are because of that only tertiary sector growth is increasing. But that is not the reason. It is the inverse. It is the reverse reason. What is actually the main reason? Because tertiary sector, less people are actually employed and they are contributing more to the economic development. That means you must actually try to understand that tertiary sector is increasing very much rapidly and it is contributing more to the economic development. Whereas the primary sector, it is consisting of many people and it is giving less economic development also. It is contributing less to the GDP of the country also. Okay. If you see these figures also, so the industrial outputs or the production output went actually 9 times during this period, 9 times, and the employment also increased by 3 times only. Whereas if you see the production activity service sector, it increased by 4 times and the employment also increased by 5 times. But if you see in the primary sector, the employment is seen more, but the contribution from in the GDP is seen very much less. So what are the main reasons that what are the main reasons that we actually see in this kind of situation wherein the population is wherein the employment is more in primary sector but its contribution is very less? So what is the kind why it is actually the situation, why this kind of situation is actually arising? That is because of the underemployment, wherein people are actually working less than their potential or the educational qualifications also. So less than their educational qualifications, they're actually working. So why do you think they're actually working less than their educational qualifications? This is because they're not able to get proper job opportunities. So because of that only, they're settling in the primary sector. And many people are actually feeling that primary sector is a very easy process, wherein they can actually easily get the employment opportunities and everything because of that only. And there is also another kind of situation, that is underemployment or disguised unemployment. So what is actually this disguised unemployment? Wherein people actually seem to work, but they're not actually they are not actually helping in the development, increasing the production. They actually seem to work. For example, in order to produce 50 kgs of rice in a particular field of land, in a particular land, 10 people are only required. Okay, 10 people are only required in order to produce 50 kgs of land, 50 kgs of rice from a piece of land. But in that kind of field, 15 people are actually working. So do you think the production will actually increase? No, the production will not actually increase. The rest 5 people are considered to be the disguised unemployment. It means they're actually appearing to work, but actually they're not working. So that is a disguised unemployment. So therefore, we must actually try to change the situation. We must actually include that kind of 5 people in a different kind of sector. Therefore, when we actually remove the 5 people from that kind of piece of land and we actually give them opportunities in the other piece of land, wherein there is actually more need and more demand, then they'll actually contribute to the economic development. Then in that kind of situation, primary sector will also help in increasing the GDP of the country. Okay. Then how we can actually create the employment opportunities? So we can actually create the employment opportunities in the field of agriculture by opening up by constructing of many dams also. So these dams will actually provide the poor people with all the irrigation facilities also. By improving the irrigation facilities, by adopting the new methods like sprinkler and drip irrigation also help in creating more opportunities in the agriculture sector, because that will also help in efficiency of process also. This will also result in this also prevents from the wastage of water also. Okay. And one more thing which we can actually see is that and this will also lead to the more employment also in the agriculture sector. And we should also improve the agriculture fields. We should also give farmers with all the agriculture inputs which are actually required by them. So these all things will actually improve the agriculture sector. Okay. And we should also give them the banking and insurance are very, very important. Wherein the cheap and the affordable credit is very much important for the poor people, because this will actually give them an opportunity in order to take loans from the bank. Okay. So this will actually give them an opportunity in order to take loans from the banks in order to start their own small businesses, or in order to use that use that money and the credit for cultivating their own land, everything, for all the different kind of purposes also. So therefore, cheap and affordable credit. That means banks should also give a very cheap loans to the people also. And SHGs, that is self-help groups, are also increasing. Cooperative societies should also increase, which should also provide loans to the people also. Okay. And one more important thing is that growth in the primary sector is also very much important. Growth in the tertiary sector. That means construction of roads should be done, construction of railways should be done to the villages and to the nearby towns and cities also. So by doing this, we'll actually make sure that we're actually so this will actually ease in the transportation process also. We can actually transport the goods easily. We can. You see, if we actually create job opportunity for the people here, the government invests some kind of money in transportation and storage of crops, then it can also make the rural roads more better, so that many trucks will also travel. So this will actually help us in the increasing of the tertiary sector also, because people will actually go into the they'll also use different kind of vehicles also in order for the transportation system. So they also become drivers also. In that process, they also increase the tertiary sector also. Therefore, this will actually help in creating the employment opportunities in the tertiary sector also. Okay. And also we have to, and also giving cheap and affordable credits will always give the people a chance to avoid the high rate of interest, because generally in rural areas they take loans from the money lenders, wherein they charge a very high rate of interest. But if they take from the banks, they charge a very low rate of interest. So therefore, this is very much important. And there should also be some opening the cold storage areas and setting up some small scale industry that will process the vegetables and agricultural products like everything, potatoes, tomatoes, then wheat and wheat, rice, sweet potato and everything. Then you can also start the honey collection centers. So all these things will actually help us in creating opportunities for the people. Job opportunities also helps in the economic development of the country. So that you must actually try to understand from this. Okay? That you should understand from this. Now let us try to understand what are the different policies which are actually brought up by the government in order to provide employment opportunities for the people. So what happens is that, so Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, MGNREGA, this was actually started by the government of India in 2005. So what is the main aim of this act? What is the main aim of this guarantee act is that it will provide 100 days of work, 100 days of guarantee work for the people. Okay, 100 days of employment opportunities for the people. And if in case if the government is not actually providing 100 days of employment opportunities for the people, it will also give unemployment allowances. Unemployment allowances is nothing but it will provide direct money to the people only. If it is not providing this kind of job opportunities for the people, okay, if the state governments are actually not providing this 100 days of work, then they should actually give money, they should actually distribute money to the people. That means they'll give unemployment allowances to the people. And in the future also, this will actually create the right to work also. This will actually ensure that people actually get some work also in the areas also, in different kind of areas also. So it can be in the different areas, so they actually work in different sectors also. Based on the different sectors, they'll actually get the work. Now let's try to understand the situation of organized sector and the unorganized sector. So organized sector is a kind of sector wherein there are some rules and regulations. So first, before we actually go, let us try to understand the situation of Kanta and Kamal. So Kanta will actually work in the office. Okay, she attends her office from 9:30 to 5:30. She gets salary regularly. That is at the end of every month. And in addition to the salary, also she also gets a provident funds as per the rules which are laid down by the government. She also gets the medical treatments and other allowances also. And she also gets she'll not go to the office on Sundays. And she also gets a paid holiday. And she also joined the so when she actually joined the work, she was given an opportunity. She was actually given an appointment letter stating all the terms and conditions of the work. That is the situation of Kanta. Let us try to understand the situation of Kamal. Kamal is a person. Okay, he's actually a daily wage laborer. He'll actually go to the shop at 7:30 and he'll work till 8:30 p.m. in the night also, okay, in the evening. And he will not get any allowances apart from this wages. Apart from the extra work he does also, he will not get any of the extra wages, okay. And he will not get paid leaves. So his work, it will actually depend upon number of days he work. If he is actually working for 10 days, then he'll get only 1000 rupees. It is like that. If you actually work for 1 day 100 rupees, then it is like that. So if you work 10 days, then 1000 rupees only. So it is like that, okay, which you must remember. And he is not given any formal letter saying that saying that about the employment opportunities. He can be asked to leave at any time by the employer. Employer is a person who is actually giving job opportunities to the employees. That you must remember, who is actually employer and who is employees. Employees are the people who are actually working under a firm. Employer is a firm. Employer is the owner of that firm, okay. Firm is nothing, it is a company. So what you actually try to understand from these two kind of sectors, that is organized, what we actually try to understand is that one is an organized sector, that is Kanta is actually working in an organized sector, and Kamal is actually working in an inorganized sector, and that is unorganized sector. So what are the actual provisions which are actually seen in the organized sector? Organized sector will have some rules and regulations which must be followed. That means there are some certain rules and regulations which are actually provided by the government, which must be definitely, it is a must in order to follow the rules and regulations. So they're actually given paid leaves are also there. So whenever they do not go to work also, they are actually given money, okay. And they also follow the rules and regulations that are set up by the government also, okay. And they also get paid leaves, and in case they also get medicinal treatments also, and in case they'll also get some tourist kind of things also for many people also, tourist benefits also, foreign trips also they'll get. And they'll also get gratuity fund. So during the time of payment, during the holidays, gratuity means during the time of pregnancies or pregnant also, when a pregnant woman also, during that time also they can get work, they can get job opportunities, they can also get the medical benefits also. And they'll also provide the ensure the drinking water and everything. So that is the organized sector, means it is an organized form. Whereas the situation in unorganized sector is completely opposite of the organized sector. They're not given money when they're actually not going to the work. No paid leaves are there, no gratuity leaves are there, and no leave due to the sickness is there. So when there is less work, even they're actually told to leave and in the organized sector, there is a terms and conditions which they must follow. They cannot just remove a person like that. They cannot just terminate a person like that. They should give a notice before some time and everything. Whereas in the unorganized sector, they may be asked to leave at any time. That is an unorganized sector, okay. And this unorganized sector is formed by small scattered units, which actually are not under the control of the government, do not have any formal regulations and rules and everything, okay. That is the unorganized sector. How we can actually protect the workers in the unorganized sector? As you actually know that people are actually going to the unorganized sector because they can actually evade the taxes. Evade the taxes means is not meant they can also escape from the taxes. In order to escape from the taxes, we should actually, escape from the taxes. Many people are actually getting into the unorganized sector also. Okay, so all these kind of people, that is landless laborers, the small farmers and everything, also they are actually working in the unorganized sectors only. So and SCs and STs, that is low caste people. So many people are actually seeing that SCs and STs. And they're actually and these people also going into the scheduled caste and scheduled tribes also, they're actually going to the unorganized sector only, okay. If you see also backward communities also, if you see backward communities, and they are also become scheduled caste also, they're actually becoming the victims of the unorganized sector, because they're actually told to work in the unorganized sector, they're not given opportunities in the unorganized sector. So how we can actually protect the workers in the unorganized sector? So first, government should actually bring out some policies and some regulations in order to keep a check about how the people are actually discriminating also. First, the social discrimination. Let's talk about social discrimination. Wherein the low caste people are actually given work opportunities in the unorganized sector. They're not given opportunities in the organized sector. So that kind of social discrimination should be removed. So for that, government should actually it should appoint a committee in order to see that if anyone is actually not providing opportunities based on the caste of the person, then he should immediately be sent to jail. Those kind of policies should be brought in. And also apart from that, also we can also see that And one more important thing which should be followed by the government is about many policies should appoint, so there should be some formal regulations and rules which must be performed by the unorganized sector also. And all these companies should, all these things, all these firms, all these companies which are which are in the unorganized sector should be under the control of government only. Then only we can actually protect the workers in the unorganized sector. We should actually provide better working hours also, better wages also. They are actually provided less wages in the unorganized sector also. And better working hours, they are actually told to work for longer hours, and the poor working conditions also. They should actually work in a very bad environment, unclean environment also. That all situations should be minimized. Then only we can actually protect the workers in the unorganized sector. Then only it will actually help in economic development of the country. Let us try to understand what the public and the private sector. Last part of the chapter. Public and the private sector is nothing but, so the ownership based on the terms of ownership. Ownership is nothing but based on what we actually own, based on the different lands and different things which we actually own. It is considered based on that only. It is divided to public and private sectors. In public sector, everything is under the control of the government. Okay, it is assets or anything, money or everything is under control of government. Whereas in the private sector, everything is not under control of the government. It is not it is under the control of the one or two individuals or a group of individuals also in the private sector. And the main aim of the public sector is for the welfare of the people. Whereas the private sector, its main aim is to get the profits. Okay. And if you see, many different kind of companies are there in the private public sector, like SAIL is there. That is also many kind of companies. SAIL is there. Then BHEL. So if you see SAIL, I'll try to see. Steel Authority of India Limited. This is the one which is a public sector enterprise, which is under control of the government. Okay, because so why will the government will actually keep some companies under its control, and why it will not keep some companies under its control? So for example, if you see electricity, if the private sectors are actually keeping the electricity under its control, then they'll actually demand very high profit. They'll actually try to demand very high profits from them also. They also take very high profits from the government also. See, that means they will not provide at a reasonable cost also. If you see the electricity also, and they'll charge very high rates also in the electricity. Okay, so during that time, what happens is the private sector and public sector both come together in order to provide the opportunity, all the different kind of things for the people. That is electricity, it may be, or it may be water connections also, and everything. Okay, so because private sectors do not have that kind of a funds. Of course, they have funds, but they do not have. See, what happens is that in the private sectors, they try to invest more funds. They try to invest more money in those kind of business. So when they actually try to invest more money, they'll also try to get more benefits. They'll also try their best to get more benefits also, no, more profits also, no. So they'll charge a very high rates. Therefore, they'll charge a very high rates. So therefore, that is the main thing which we actually see. So even if they actually provide these kind of things, they will actually charge a high rates also. Okay, so that's why mainly the public sectors and private sectors will actually come together. They'll form a joint sector, and they try to provide opportunities and different kind of things for the people. Okay, and whereas government sector will not do that, those kind of things. Of course, government sector should also get all the profits and everything, but as compared to the private sector, it will actually take very less money also. Okay, because its main aim is for the welfare of the people. Okay, and the many small scale units also might have to actually shut down. Why they have to shut down? Because of the increasing of the production costs also, because of the more demand, because of the huge competition between the large companies and the large private sectors also. They have to actually close down. But with this one, you'll learn more about it in the 4th chapter, that is globalization. Okay, in that impact of globalization and everything you learn in that chapter. So just you can actually learn this everything. So providing of the health and education is also very much important for the government also. Okay, they should also provide good education facilities also, quality education, proper schools also. And they should also provide books for the people, for the students and everything, for the children, everything. They should also provide with all the houses for the people, and infant mortality rate should also reduce very much. when actually it reduces, then we can actually state that that respective state is development is actually increasing. Okay, that you must actually understand. Okay, so it should provide some nutritional food also. It should also protect the rights of the people also. So all these things are actually performed by the public sectors. Okay, so these are the things which you actually learn from this chapter, that is that is the sectors of the Indian economy. So with that, I actually complete the economics. Economics is done, history is done, then civics. Okay, civics one more lesson. So civics has to be done. So civics has to be done, and so on. After this, we'll start with federalism. With that federalism, if we complete federalism, we can actually complete two. That means if I complete federalism, we will have completed 7 lessons in social. So that would be fine. And in history, civics, and geography, in history, civics, and economics, I'm actually trying to complete two lessons. And geography, it's I'll try to see if I can see one more lesson also. Okay, that we'll see after maybe about 1 week. I'll actually try to see if I can upload. Otherwise, this is going to be the federalism is going to be the last lesson. Okay, that I'm actually going to tell. Okay, because I'm actually telling only two lessons which are actually important for your examination point of view only. Okay, so with that, I actually end this class and hope you all are fine. So take care of yourself also, and see you all next time in the federalism lesson. And actually we are starting a live about the light lesson also, that is reflection, diffraction. We are going to complete chemistry, that is chemical equations. So if we actually complete all these kind of things now, we'll actually complete. And English and Maths we'll try to see. If possible, we'll see, otherwise no. Because this only is actually taking a lot of time. Okay. So with that, I actually end the class and hope you all are fine. Take care of yourself also, and do not stress about anything. Just eat good food and everything, and you'll be all fine. You'll all be fine. Okay. And with that, have a positive outlook. Okay. That one is very much important. So with that, I'll actually end the